This is the Art of Living Well Radio Network. Radio to inspire enlightened living. You're listening now to the Honest to God series with Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.
Good morning, everybody. This week I cannot say that we are broadcasting from sunny and warm San Diego, California, Ahonu. This week we are broadcasting from Mankato, Minnesota. Everybody hear of Mankato? Well, I'm sure if you're used to watching all the Little House on the Prairie movies, you would have heard about Mankato numerous times. But we're up here at a Holistic and Healing Conference at the Marriott Courtyard in Mankato, Minnesota. And the weather is, 40s? 40s to 50s. And it started out this morning being nice and sunny. However, now it looks like it is clouding over, and I do think it's supposed to rain today, so at least it's not snow, huh?
Well, there is snow that has been plowed up in big clumps out of the street corners, and this is such a change for us to see coming from sunny San Diego. And it's part of that, we're talking about transformation today, and here we are, and our whole environment has been transformed. But there's been something else that has transformed also in Mankato, Minnesota, and that is yesterday we very kindly got a tour of the city from our host here at the Holistic Fair, and she pointed out that way back in those days there was a number of Native American Indians that were hanged here in the town center, and some white people too. And it left such a dark imprint on the place that many, many people that have come through here who are sensitive to energies actually noticed it. But they did erect a monument called the Reconciliation Monument, and we took some pictures of it yesterday. And it is all about coping with that transformation. And here we are in a time of great change. Indeed, many of you will know and have already purchased Aingeal Rose's book, A Time of Change, which you can get from attimeofchange.info. And it's all about being able to change, being able to cope with change, being able to take advantage of the opportunities, being able to keep a clear head despite all the negativity that's going on and despite the difficulties of the past. So we will have a wonderful guest on our show today. We won't bring him on just for a moment because we've another little bit of chat to do. But let me just give you an outline of our wonderful guest today. His name is Sammy. He's the owner of the Pacific Beach Holistic Center in San Diego. And he says, I've been going through a self-transformation for the past years, a transformation which accelerated my mental consciousness of myself. I currently share my story with anyone who wants to share with me theirs. My new outlook on life and my realization to choose to experience life in a more heightened sense of awareness has increased my happiness for life, joy in being, and deep gratitude for the gift of love and life. My new friends who just appeared in my life, and it seems out of nowhere, are all telling me that I am just remembering. I started practicing yoga and meditation about a year ago, and it has elevated my life. I rediscovered meditation after meeting those new friends of mine and started the practice of meditation about 5 times a week. I've since learned from my gifted friends several techniques which have helped me tremendously in realizing qualities of myself and the new discoveries found from within. Now, in that short little introduction, though, he doesn't spell out the fact that he was a U.S. Marine and had many, many difficult encounters and has managed to transform through all of that. So that's the theme of our talk today. And this is indeed what we're actually doing here in Mankato, Minnesota. Aingeal Rose was the keynote speaker last night at the opening of the conference, and it was absolutely wonderful. Theme again, transformation, coping with the difficulties, coping with the threat of war, coping with the poisoning of our children with vaccines, poisoning of our food with genetically modified stuff, all of that transformation, moving into the new era of light and love and growth and spiritual awareness.
I do have to say, Ahonu, that the people here are extremely friendly. And we haven't met anybody that hasn't been really beautiful and very, very helpful. So so far it's been a really wonderful experience for us. I did enjoy speaking last night. I do have to admit that once you hand me a microphone, Ahonu, I get on a roll, and you can't shut me up, can you? All right. But anyway, any new announcements? We will be giving another talk next Thursday night at Rachel Pollard Center in La Mesa, California. And I forgot what the name of her center is. It's terrible that I have. But we will be talking about quantum jumping there and taking people into an experience of meeting their other alternate selves in other realities for specific reasons. So that will be fun when we get back to San Diego. I am looking forward to getting back to the sunshine, though, Ahonu. I guess I'm getting spoiled.
Turning into these California babes, I think. We just need to get you down on the beach now in the surf. Yes, yes, indeed. Now, we do have a few more little announcements to make, and one of them, Aingeal Rose mentioned about us doing this talk next week. We are starting to get our act together in terms of being able to be more efficient about recording our stuff and putting it out so that everybody can get access to it. So the keynote speech last night that Aingeal Rose did, we actually have that on video now, but there's a little bit of production to take place. So we wanted to try and get that up on aingealrose.com as soon as we can and make it available to you, because really she revealed some amazing, really, really amazing and much anticipated information. And in fact, there was some warnings there from source, but also solutions. So that is a very, very important thing to watch. We will make that available as soon as possible. Also today we will be talking to the same, to the group of people who are attending today about twin flames and soulmates, and many, many people are coming together now into relationships that they recognize are rather special. It's no longer just a sexual encounter. It's no longer just a physical attraction, that there's something deeper going on and that there's some huge life purpose involved in it. So we'll be speaking about that today. We will be recording it and making that available. We'll also be talking about crop circle essences, and there's a whole story behind that. We don't want to take the time away from our wonderful guest today, Sammy, Bounmy, but we will be talking about that crop circle and making that available to people as well. Remember too that the 8 Steps to Freedom is available at 8stepstofreedom.com. Aingeal Rose's book is available at atimeofchange.info, The Nature of Reality, which is her new book. She's working feverishly away on it at the moment as we speak, but that won't be out until November, but you can pre-order it at thenatureofreality.info. And we do our group Akashic Records every Wednesday evening in San Diego. You can find out more about that at meetup.com/Akashic Records Group. And we're also on iTunes, and many, many people can actually listen into the archives of all of our shows on aingealrose.com/podcasts. So that's all of our little announcements that we want to make. And let me now just go into a little introduction about the creator and visionary behind the Pacific Beach Holistic Center in San Diego, California. Sammy Bounmy is the creator of the center on Gannett Avenue in San Diego. It's a community-based center where anyone can enter and participate in various yoga classes, which are offering a variety of healing workshops and many tools and techniques which will lead to their own realization of self. Sammy believes that these activities will increase awareness of self and the absolute complete acceptance of love of self and others. He has attracted into his life some passionate yoga teachers, experienced energy healers, and very caring facilitators to help and assist in their transformation. Sammy welcomes everybody into the Pacific Beach Holistic Center who are ready to be in divine sync with their more higher consciousness and truest essence of self. His goals are to spread the message of self-realization, to empower those who are seeking a happier existence, and to be in the flow with the vibrations that carries the individual to their own liberation and the conquering of their fear-based belief. This all sounds great, but Sammy actually is so down to earth and so real that he's an inspiration. His magnetism, indeed, and his radiance attracts caring and giving people who want to help others in need of healing, in need of a more organic way of living and a more love-based expression to others. He has personally assisted in the healing of many people who needed his intuitive methods of healing. After a session with him, whether just in conversation or listening to his perspectives, really, you actually receive a huge healing treatment just from meeting him. You're sure to heal, grow, and ascend, as he puts it. Everyone will immediately feel uplifted and have a certain level of clarity and feel a finer shift in consciousness with a better understanding of their own healing and grow into a better version of themselves. Now, what many people don't know, of course, is that Sammy served 4 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. I might have said the Navy earlier on, but it was the U.S. Marine Corps. Right out of high school, and he really enjoyed some of these experiences there after his reintegration into the American society. I like the way he says that reintegration. He then struggled internally at finding his own path of destiny. He really had to work hard at figuring out who he was and what he really wanted to do, and where does he belong in the modern world. He had to detach from the programming that was embedded in his mind while in the service and learn also how to let go of old beliefs, let go of negative thought patterns, and distance himself from the environment that he grew up in and the people that did not elevate his awareness. Sammy overcame some depressing moments in his life. He had to overcome the sudden suicide of a childhood friend, and we will ask him more about that because many of the people that we're encountering now are considering suicide. We've helped so many people move away from those dreadful, depressing thoughts, but Sammy will help us with his experience, leaving his old fears and his fear-based ideas and belief systems behind him. He then conquered his own illusions of how he saw the modern world by using the tools and techniques to go within. He calls himself a modern yogi. The modern yogi moves freely through our modern concrete jungles with confidence, in higher awareness, and consciously navigates it without losing himself or herself. He practices self-realization techniques. He likes to read high-vibration literature, loves to practice yoga and meditation, and Sammy wants to heal others, and transform into their higher, better selves. He wants to empower others to live their passion and to reach their potential. Sammy wants to teach others how to create their own heaven on earth. So without further ado, let's hear from this wonderful soul, Sammy Bounmy from San Diego, California.
Hi, Sammy.
Hi, Aingeal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? We're so glad you're coming on today.
I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful that you are having me on. Thank you, Ahonu.
Okay, so let's start, Sammy, with talking about your life in the Marine Corps and what happened with you in the service. And give us some of your pros and cons about being in the service, and then, what was that process like for you when you came out?
Well, I enlisted after high school. I really, now after looking back, I really enjoyed my time there. The experience, they were my personal experience. The friends I met, the experience I had, the training I received, they were all part of me, part of my identity for the 4 years. It was great training. It was great education for what it was when I was in the military, when I was in the Marine Corps. It served its purpose. It helped me grow in the way that it was designed for Marines to grow. The training was hard. It was fun. The only thing I remember was just really going back to friends and the memories we had, the laughter we shared during the times of hard training. All we had was each other to hold on to, brothers. Sometimes, memories would flash to how my life was before I entered the Marine Corps with, friends and family and school and so on and so forth. But they keep you present. The military, they keep you present. They keep you on edge as far as getting ready and being prepared. So they do a really good job in molding someone from civilian into a military person, in my case, a U.S. Marine.
Did you work the transformation then? When you came out of that, how did you manage to integrate into mainstream society after that kind of disciplined and preparedness type of approach?
Well, I'm 34 years old now. I enlisted when I was 18, turning 19 years old. So when I got out, I was 21, turning 22 years old. I didn't know it yet. I thought while I was when I was about to get out of the Marine Corps, I was going to hit the ground running, so to speak, and get my job, get a career going, and get a stable life going on. But it didn't turn out like that. It was rough. It was fun in the first year, then it got rough the second and third year. I really I didn't adjust mentally and emotionally, and other parts of myself didn't adjust to what just happened in 4 years in the Marine Corps. I was so detached from America, from society, and it was just, I just had to step back and really started thinking about, okay, what happened to me? Who am I now? What I wanted to do? What my passion was? And these were serious questions I had to really ask myself and really identify who I am now as this person. Just struggling mentally, struggling emotionally, and struggling spiritually. Oh, at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of spirituality. I mean, I've always believed in God, but a lot of things were lacking, and there was a lot of confusion. So just finding my way through it was for many years. It took me many years. It didn't really started clicking or started coming to me until I was maybe about 27, 28. And that was really, I was really at the point of just giving up myself. Mentally, I couldn't, I wanted to find my place in the world. I wanted to know why I was here. What was the purpose of me being here? So really have to really ask myself these really deep and profound and honest questions.
All right. Now, we want to ask you about those, but let me ask you this question. Do you think it was just that this difficulty was just you, or do you think every U.S. Marine, every soldier encounters that kind of difficulty transitioning from the military life into civilian life? Do you think it's the same for everybody?
I think it's very similar to everyone. I think a lot of people, I think some people have a difficult time and some people have an easy time adjusting depending on their support group, depending on if they're prepared to change, if they're prepared to shift from what they just learned, whether it's 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I really thank God that I had only 4 years in the Marine Corps, because any more years it would have been a lot tougher for me to readjust. But yeah, I think it is tough for a lot of people, and I believe that they are doing a lot better job as far as getting military men and women to be ready when they are done with their service to have somewhat of a support group outside. But for me, I didn't really have a lot. I really just wanted to detach. So I didn't sign up for the VA. I didn't go seek their help at all. I just kind of wanted to do it my way. I felt that I could just not think about it, not focus on the things that has happened, but really just try to find my way going forward, not to look back. So,
Sammy, what was the biggest difference between being a Marine and coming back into what we consider normal society? What was the biggest shift? I mean, what's the way of life? What's the biggest difference in the way of life?
I believe it's different for everyone, but for me, it really was. I didn't know who myself was anymore. I mean, most of us, we go in the military when we're 18 years old, so we're still kids. You know, just getting out of high school, we're still kids, and then we grow up 4 years in the service or 5 years or however long it is. And when you come out, I mean, most times during those times, people are in college, people are working in jobs or have a family. But for us, we grew up differently, so our path in this life is being involved in a system, the way that they've been training people for 100 years plus, or many more years after that. But for me, it was really I've lost myself. I lost my interests, the interests that I used to like before going in. Things just changed. I knew that I was a different person. I knew my thinking was different. How I saw the world was different. How I saw the military men and women, the government, politics. I just didn't identify with that anymore, and I consciously had to really work with detaching from that thinking, from that way of seeing the world altogether.
Mm-hmm. Now you have evidently, obviously made a wonderful transition and transformation, but tell us the kinds of difficulties that you encountered along the way. Tell us what you did practically and in a 3D way, as well as inwardly and emotionally and spiritually. What kind of things did you do or say to yourself, or how did you do it? How did you transition?
Well, I didn't know I had to transition at first. I just thought that I was going to come out and then I was going to integrate into the American society, the modern world, with what I've learned, what I've carried through my whole life. But that didn't seem to work. I've always, had nice jobs. I worked in the hospitality industry, bartended, served food, worked in really nice places, and I'm very thankful. But during the course of all that, I wasn't truly satisfied and happy because I didn't know where I belonged. I didn't know what I came down here for, what my mission was. So eternally, I always had these really deep questions before I even discovered what consciousness was, what this whole shift and transformational time that we're living in. I had no idea what that was. I was so far away from that. So just finding my way, asking myself questions. At a lot of point in my time, a lot of times, as I was going through this, I had insomnia, couldn't sleep. I just had stress, anxiety, mood swings, ups and downs, asking myself questions, blaming myself, blaming others, not being happy, just hating a lot of things within myself, allowing myself to go through the things that I've gone through, questioning myself, and just really and just that, and just being around people that were reinforcing that as well. They were going through their own difficult times, and none of us knew this. None of us knew that we had issues, whether it's military, whether it's just life in general. We had no idea. It was just this time in our life where everything was hazy, foggy. There was no answers, and it was really just a moment in my life. Towards maybe the last maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, it really got to the point of really just really frustrating with life, and that's when I think I got a phone call saying that a childhood friend committed suicide,
Yes.
and we were just all shocked because this person, a friend of ours, he was a happy-go-lucky guy. Everyone loved him. He had a beautiful smile, beautiful light within him, and we were just so confused. We had no idea that this could happen to such a beautiful person. But then after hearing that, I went inside my mind and I asked myself, have I thought about that? And I said, yeah, I've thought about that many times, because I didn't know, because we didn't know, because we had no ideas. We didn't know how to deal with things like this. Internal struggles, emotional struggles, spiritual struggles as well, because sometimes out in this modern world we don't connect. We don't feel that we're safe in this world. And so it's just really a lot of deep questions. But then it became to allowing myself to feel, allowing myself to be honest with myself, allow myself to cry, to experience new things, to show my emotions, to tell the truth, to do a lot of things, to really just find myself again.
And that must have been a difficult thing for, the image of the U.S. Marine, being able to be self-honest and emotionally vulnerable and cry. How did you find that within yourself? And also the impact of your friend's suicide, the impact of that. You must have felt very vulnerable and very human, I guess.
Yes, very vulnerable, very human, very weak, very just, as far as the pinnacle of as far as the animal kingdom and where we stack, I just saw human beings as on the very low totem pole at that point. I was just like, wow, I can't believe the human being made it this far, but we have so many difficulties to deal with. But that's what makes us so unique. We're so beautiful in all these various ways. And dealing with my friend's suicide, it was just that. It was looking myself in the mirror and say that, you know what, that's him. That's what he chose to do. Those were his issues. But I knew that it wasn't me. It wasn't what I wanted to choose to do. And so that started one of the triggers that started me on the path that I'm on, is just really looking at him and seeing for what he is and what he's gone through, and then say, you know what, I'm separate from that. I have my own path. I can choose to do these various different things. But I also know I have that choice, that same choice that he has, that everyone else has as well. But I choose to ride it out, to see what's going to happen, to see what life will bring, and life has brought in beautiful friends, the ability to create visions, just a lot of peace, a lot of harmony, a lot of love around in my life. So I feel very fortunate.
Yeah. So tell us, Sammy, how did that begin for you? I mean, was it do you think it was because you were really searching for answers that these people came into your life as an answer to a lot of your own inner questions? And so go ahead and tell us how you transitioned even further, from somebody, who had a very negative impression of people into the spiritual person that you are today. And hang on, Ahonu's got a question as well.
Well, I just want to remind our listeners that you're listening to Aingeal Rose and Ahonu on the Honest to God series. We broadcast every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, and of course for our friends in Europe, it's around 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Greenwich Mean Time. So we're speaking with Sammy Bounmy, who's the owner of the Pacific Beach Holistic Center in San Diego. We're going to take a very, very quick little studio break here, Sammy, and when we come back, we want you to tell us about how you got into the center and how that transformation manifested itself in the practical reality of the wonderful work that you're doing now. So just bear with us for a few moments.
This is the Art of Living Well Radio Network. Radio to inspire enlightened living. The Honest to God series with Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.
All right, welcome back. We're speaking with Sammy Bounmy, who's the owner of the Pacific Beach Holistic Center in San Diego. Sammy, talk to us about that transformation then from all that, the negativity that you'd encountered and your move towards the positive and the wonderful service that you provide now.
Okay, I think it was about 2009 or 10. I started really, after years of asking myself and really having very difficulty, stress within myself and not being able to sleep, I would sometimes, get up 3 o'clock in the morning, walk outside to the street, and just really, in my boxers, just really frustrated. I'm just with my arms wide open, looking up into the night sky, the morning sky, and just really talking to God or my higher self or somebody, and I just really have had it. I said, I don't know what I'm doing down here, but it's not working out. I'm not happy. You need to bring someone in my life. Something has to change, because if I don't find my stride, then I don't want to be here. And that would happen, night after night, looking up in the morning sky and just really asking God, or anyone who would listen, is there something out there? Is there a purpose for me? Is there, what am I here to do? I feel like I'm just taking up space. I don't feel happy. I don't feel right doing this. And so that really, and months and months after that, things started coming into my life. I started having visions and dreams. Anger and stress, anxiety went away, and I just felt a lot more joy, happiness, peace, tranquility within myself. And then I quit my job at the end January 2011. I took 5-6 months off and just, detached, didn't have a boss, didn't have a job, and those 5 months I really I'm so thankful for, because it got me a chance to really connect with my deepest, highest self. And from there, it was a snowball effect. That turned into a before Pacific Beach Holistic Center became what it is now. It was actually, my goal at that time was to open up a marijuana collective. So I live in California, in San Diego. At that point, it was, it's legal. So I had some finances saved up, and I was inspired by my friend who was growing cannabis. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to open a storefront cannabis place. And from there, I opened. But I found this beautiful place on Garnett, but it was a fairly big place, and so I was like, I want to integrate other things. And so we made the other half a studio where we could, come in and practice yoga techniques and meditation. And from there on, the teachers started coming to my life, new friends, and I was really transformed in these various ways, learning to meditate, learning how to breathe properly, learning how to practice yoga. That really started the deep healing, the deep transformation within myself. And we just had a grand opening the 26th of this year, and now it is Pacific Beach Holistic Center, a place for everyone to come in to learn these tools and techniques, to learn from you, to go through your classes as well, Aingeal Rose and my friends Linda. It's just for us to learn these tools and techniques for us to transform within ourselves. And transformation doesn't happen, for me, the world can just take care of itself. It all starts with myself and what I can do for me, and really asking what I wanted in this life, the community I want to be part of, and what my mission was. And my main mission is I really want to just share with others what I've gone through and bring to them things that's worked for me. And I just encourage everyone to just go ahead and, stick their foot in and try these different methods, and just really be open to living a more organic life, eating more organic foods, be around people who are very positive and loving. That's going to reinforce the loving nature that we all are. We are all love beings. We are incredible beings. And the transformation for me, it was just gradual. It was one after another. But I did have a moment in my life last year. 2012 was a strong and profound year for me, and like everyone else. February 2nd, I had my first energy healing with my friends Lisa Van Esk and Curtis Switzer. We sat in the Holistic Center and we did this incredible healing session. I was in the most loving trance of my life. I was in a 2-hour oneness connection with Source. At that time, the word Source was new to me. The word oneness was new to me. All these words, all these new vocabulary I had not heard before. But this moment in my life that happened was a profound change, a sudden shift in everything that I am. I feel like I've grown into the higher being that I am, and I'm just kind of hitting my stride, so to speak. I felt my third eye open. I felt everything connected. Everything was one. I felt my energy. I felt the spirit that I am, and it was such a profound change. It was 2 hours of just pure bliss, pure bliss. And I wish that I can share this gift with everyone. I wish that everyone can go through what I went through at that moment in time. I felt
Well, you're
that,
obviously sharing that gift, Sammy, because in reviewing your Pacific Beach Holistic Center, one of the, many of the wonderful Yelp comments that you have on there, online, if anybody wants to research it and look up Yelp, they will find that there are wonderful, positive comments. But you put your finger on something that a lot of the comments have tuned into, and that is that it's not so much the techniques, because many people who would go there might be new to yoga or might be new to meditation, and there's obviously some seasoned people there too. But the one thread through the comments that I noticed was that it was being around loving people, and you said that if somebody is in a depressed state, or if they're worried or concerned about their family, their environment, their work, whatever it is, moving into an environment where there are loving people can cause the transition itself just by being close to positive, loving people. That's one of the wonderful services that you offer, because just stepping inside your doors provides that environment, provides that atmosphere. Well, what do you say to that?
I really believe that's true. You know, being around you, being around the new friends that I've made in my life so far, it breeds more life, more joy, more happiness. And we're here to, I really feel that we are here to elevate one another. And if someone's down, and if another person is in a very great state of mind, just being around that person will elevate you, will make you feel better. Your energy will be lifted. So I really am a believer in that. Just being around positive people, positive environments, is going to elevate your consciousness. It's going to elevate your sense of who you are. You're going to feel more love. You're going to know that everyone's your friend. You're going to know that you're never alone, that the angels, the guides, God, Source, they're always with you. And we're just going through a beautiful time in our life where we're just remembering all the beautiful things, all the beautiful qualities that we are. And we are spirit in body. We are powerful. It is our birthright to be absolutely happy, to receive all the things that we ever ask for, to have the best friends, the families, to co-create the greatest, the loving memories that will vibrate forever. It is all within us.
That's very, very beautiful. And I have been in the center, both Ahonu and I were there at your grand opening, and we've taught a few classes there since, and we'll continue to do so. And it is as soon as you walk in, it is a beautiful, friendly, peaceful environment. You feel good as soon as you're in there. So we appreciate that you've created that sacred space, because it really, really does make a difference. But I have a question, Sammy, when I'm going to kind of digress just a little bit. But, you know, being in the military and looking at what's going on today with North Korea, and then hearing you talk about emerging into this spiritual consciousness and, you know, being in touch with Source, and certainly having your own prayers answered by your appeal to Source through those dark nights of the soul, which so many people are going through right now. So you've proven that Source exists because you were answered. And how do we put all this in context, in the sense that, you know, we've got a threat of war upon us right now, and it seems that there are people in the world, unfortunately leaders of countries, who are just back there. You know, they're just back at that place where it's still about hatred and conquest and greed and whatever it is they're doing, but it threatens all of us, and all of us who are trying to make these choices over to peace and spirituality. So, you know, do you have any comments or advice about that, having been a Marine and that Marine consciousness, in terms of, you know, defending a country or whatever that reality is, and then moving into what we all perceive as the true reality, where things really are about love and sharing and community? So do you have any comments? Because it seems like both of these realities are going on in the world, and sometimes I do wonder how how are they going to intersect, or are they not ever going to intersect? And in the meantime, there's the threat of many people who are trying to be spiritual and really do want peace being destroyed. So what do you think about all that?
Happiness is in our own hands. Happiness and love and peace is within our own hands. I feel that when we choose to come down here to participate in this world, to so evolve right now, that people can choose to play politics, choose to build a military, choose to use the rhetoric and the words that they use, and it sends a certain vibration. It brings up hostility. It brings up a lot of chaos and fear. And who's ever doing this, they have to stop, because we're in a phase of this beautiful time in our life where there's going to be, I feel that by us being the positive, loving, kind, compassionate people that we are, that's our true nature. And just by us being that in everyday life is going to help balance what's going on in there. And I pretty much have detached from watching, things that's going on in the world, because I choose not to have that in my mind and have that fear inside my heart. So, but I did catch some news a couple of days ago, and it's the same. I feel that it's the same game. I feel that these are the characters, the actors in this planet that we're living in right now. Part of their goal is to instill fear, to control, to just constantly consume, and it's their game. I choose not to play that game. I choose not to be a part of that. So what I'm doing for myself is just really just taking care of me, taking care of the community, being the friend that I am, and allowing everyone to express their feelings, their emotions as well, what they feel about what's going on. And things is going to take care of itself. I believe that God, Source, the Divine, has a great plan for everything, and it's giving us an opportunity to step away from that and to see whether I want to put my power, put my consciousness into that. And right now, I choose not to. It's something that they're going to do. If they choose to have peace, and they're going to have peace. Being a military person, I feel for the military, men and women who are, whether they know it or not, it's great to serve. It's great to be of service, but it's also good to be in your own powers and to say, I remember being in the military. They would say, being in the Marine Corps, they said, well, you were on the tip of the spear. If anything happens, the American military will be there. But now I see it as different. I see us as I choose to be the shield. The shield protects. The shield doesn't kill. The sword does. So I see my perspective has changed. I choose to be the shield, to be the defense, pretty much, to not allow things to come into.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I feel for the military. I feel that they have families. They're regular people. They have families. They have kids. Whether they know what they got themselves into, that's a whole different another segment. But at that time, when I was in the military, I did not know what I was signing up for. I mean, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I bought into what they were preaching is, we are the protectors of the world. Our job is really important, and if need be, we have to, fire a weapon, so to speak, and do all these damages.
Yeah.
But that's what I was a part of, which allows me now to see it from afar and see that, that was so far away, that's their game. That is their world. When they sleep at night, when they go to home and sleep, that's all they're thinking about. That's all that's taking up space inside their heart, inside their mind. And that's what's fueling all that. That's what's feeding into this frenzy, this hate, this fear, this want to brink of war, These are powerful vibrations that those who understand these things, they know this, they want this for some reason, and it's going to stop. It's not going to happen because our planet is so beautiful. Our planet is such a gift and such a magical place that it will not happen the way they want it to happen. Peace and love and brotherhood will always trump that. In every single scriptures, they always say, you know, the good always wins. The light will always shine through. So for me, I can just say that people should just send prayers and, you know, send positive vibrations out to that part of the world, and just have the most positive outcome in what it is to come. It is just part of the game that we've chosen to play in. Some have chosen to really be in the game, and some choose to just watch, and not to give it power, not to give it energy, not to give it any more life. So I see what's going on there, but I choose not to really participate. During my meditations, during my prayers, I just send good, loving energy there and just hope for the best.
Right. Now you're touching on some very, very important points there that are driving the world in one way or another, and you've continually used the word game, the characters and actors in this game of war, and they're very, very important words to be using because, in my personal opinion, a lot of these warmongers are like children playing a war game, and they're acting it out in their adult lives. But the downside, of course, is that the weapons that they're using are so enormous that if one nuclear weapon, for example, did go off, it would affect the entire population. So I just want to ask you, and I want to get clear in my own head about what your opinion is that if a nuclear weapon did go off, for example, how does one who is spiritual and who is meditative and is trying their absolute best to connect with that loving space within themselves and connect with their own God self, they're still going to be wiped out, aren't they not?
Yes, you know, but it's allowing, it's letting go of the fear, letting go that there is a beautiful plan, letting go that, you know, life and death is I see death is as gingerly as walking from your kitchen to your living room, as easy as, you know, opening your front door and going outside. It is that. So perception from that has to change. Before I had fear and like, well, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. But then my perception of death has changed, and I see death as a life. So if it does happen, then just allow it. It's just, if we can't escape from it, allow it. It's part of what is going to have to happen. But I know that it's not going to happen. I believe that the loving people, your audience, and everyone else that's a part of this movement, I call the movement anyways the modern yogi movement, because I think we're all modern yogis living in this world, just, you know, doing the best that we can, and as loving as we can to be the best to ourselves and to our family and friends. But if something does happen like that, just allow it. You know, you're not going to get in the car and drive away, so allow it. It's a beautiful thing that that we're living in this time of life, and that it all is going to work out for the best. There's always a beautiful plan for everything. And finding spirituality is within. It's all within. Because if you are a peaceful and kind person here in the United States, when you travel to Australia, when you travel to Europe, you're still going to be that peaceful, loving person, and you're going to attract into your life nothing but the greatest of friends, nothing but the greatest of, you know, opportunities that's coming your way. And those who are the characters and the kids with the big guns, with the big toys that want to blow people up, that's their karma. That's their issues, and they have to work through that themselves eventually. But I really feel that the angels are in place. I feel that, you know, Source has put the right people, and just by you having this radio show and spreading the words and sending out the vibrations of peace and love and truth out there to everyone, this is how we're going to combat this whole anger and fear that's going on elsewhere. It's just simply doing what we do. It's just allowing ourselves to accept everything that's happened as it is, but also our game, our character, is to send out the vibrations of peace, of love, of brotherhood, of friendship, coming together and just really emerging into this beautiful vibration that we're all living in. And just let the characters, eventually they're going to weed themselves out. Leaders will come and go, politics will come and go, but the love of human beings will always be there.
Well, I think that's absolutely true and beautiful, and that is the one constant thing, is that the human spirit is so eternal in terms of not only its life, but, that love that drives behind everything. And I think your words are very wise and very, very important today, because certainly as a reader, an Akashic Record reader, and the questions people bring to me, there is so much fear in people today, and it's the fear of surviving. And you are right in the sense that it all really does come down to our fear of death, and that strive to stay alive as long as possible. And we want the freedom to be able to be choosing our own lives in whatever direction. We really don't want other people interfering with our right to choose, and I think that's a lot of the fear that people are experiencing today. But you make a good point to say that it really is about where you put your energy. And even though you're fearful, you could still be making a choice to choose peace inside yourself. And it is true that when you do that, just that really simple statement where you say, I'm choosing peace instead of the chaos. That automatically starts to change how you feel. And it starts to open you up to that higher frequency where love is still existing, where everything is all is well, there's nothing to worry about. But I do think that, the advice is that people need to remember that they have that choice, that they can choose peace instead of staying in fear. Because if you don't have anything to compare it to, like when you do get a hold of yourself and say, I choose peace instead, and you start to have that shift in emotions, like you were talking about earlier when you were appealing to Source and saying, I need to know the reason why I'm alive. And after appealing, you started to have shifts in feelings and perceptions. And that's what people have to have, because if they can't see how their choice produces a different effect in them, they'll never know, how powerful those choices can be. So I think, I love what you're saying. It's so very practical and wise. And, it is a practice, though, in this day and age, because people are being triggered all over the place. But we do have to remember that we are the pillars of light that uphold, the strength of the loving presence that is also existing here. So, we do have these two realities going on, and we're either in one camp or the other. And that has everything to do with our choices.
Now, Sammy, we're winding down into the last few minutes of our program here. And I would like to ask you, for the benefit of our listeners, our listeners, as you know, are international, and many will not have the opportunity to actually visit your Pacific Beach Holistic Center in San Diego, California. But are you open to have people contact you, because you are very inspiring with your message and your experiences? Is there a way for people to contact you either through a website or an email address or a phone number? Can you give us that?
Yes, they can go to the website. It's one word, pbholisticcenter.com. They can also contact me Facebook. First name is Sammy, S-A-M-M-Y. Last name is Bounmy, B-O-U-N-M-Y. They can email me at pbholisticcenter@gmail.com. And I'm open to having my telephone number out there as well, because it's 858-337-0889. And if you're visiting in the San Diego area, please stop in, have a chat with us. get involved and just kind of see what we're doing here. Share your stories as well, because I know everyone is unique and everyone has their own beautiful inspiration that they've gone through themselves, and it's healing for others. It's healing for self. And the more that we come together as those who are in the shift, who have transformed, who have chosen the light, have chosen peace, have chosen brother and sisterhood, that is the future. That is our strength. That's how we're going to combat the warmongers. That's how we're going to combat the darkness that's out there, just by us being the loving, kind, compassionate people that we are, and just remembering that we are, made in the image of Source, and we have all the incredible gifts and power that comes with that. And just continue on to listen to your show, because I know there's a lot of beautiful vibration that's being set out, a lot of great wisdom and knowledge. It's connecting people as well. So just for us to continue being a part of this family, and this family is the family of oneness, the house of oneness. That's all that we can always kind of gravitate to, that we are divine, loving spirit.
All right, we appreciate that.
Contact me, come by anytime. Yes.
Yes, now just speaking about the contact, there was the tiniest little skip when you were mentioning your telephone number, 858-337. What was the last 4 digits of that?
0889.
0889, great. And Sammy Bounmy on Facebook, or Pacific Beach Holistic Center at gmail.com. That's how to contact Sammy. Or if anybody is in San Diego, they can go to Garnet Avenue and look for the Pacific Beach Holistic Center. That's absolutely wonderful. Now, let me do a little bit of a summary, as is our tradition, Sammy. Just stay with us for the last few moments. We talked about your transition from the Marine Corps. We talked about the effect of your friend's suicide on you, how you managed to work through that grown men crying kind of feeling that can be very, very difficult for men. Your whole transition from negativity into positivity, how you took the time out to work on yourself, and how that was a very, very positive thing. And how, when you were around loving people, you felt the influence, and that helps you transform. And that's your advice to others too, is to be around loving people. And that how happiness and peace is in our own hands as a means to handle that threat of war that's out there. And we spoke, of course, about those characters and as being actors and characters in a game of war, and how you see yourself now as being the shield instead of the sword, which is a very interesting visual. That's an absolutely wonderful visual. And you talked about how everything being the fear of death, and how we are able to overcome that. And then finally you did give us your contact details. Sammy Bounmy on Facebook, Pacific Beach Holistic Center at gmail.com is your email, and your telephone number 858-337-0889. Unfortunately, we do have to draw to a close now. You've been listening to Aingeal Rose and Ahonu on the Honest to God series, and our guest today was Sammy Bounmy. And you were an absolute delight, Sammy. It's been a pleasure and a treasure to have you on with us. Let's have a quick word from Aingeal Rose before we close.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on and inspiring us all. Your message, and you know, being around you is like being around a light that just radiates peace and gentleness all over the place. So I appreciate your transformation and your beingness. You're a beautiful person, and thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you to all your listeners everywhere in the world. Thank you for them just tuning in and being part of your family, being part of what you're doing. And what you're doing is really beautiful, and it is how we're going to combat all the fear and all the hate that's out there. And just give them truth, just give them love, and it's all going to take care of itself. So thank you guys for having this radio show, and allowing everyone to tune in and listen to truth and honesty, and finding peace within themselves. So thank you all.
That's beautiful. Thank you indeed, Sammy. And thank you also, and we send our love, blessings to every one of our listeners from Ahonu Aingeal Rose on the Honest to God series, and we do look forward very much to speaking to you again next week.
This is the Art of Living Well Radio Network. Radio to inspire enlightened living. The Honest to God series with Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.